Hello, I'm Bert Oliver, and welcome to Bowie News and Views, a long-running program and two short hosts. Well, not short, short on something, information at times.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what really is tickled me about you being on the program today. You missed a couple.
yeah,
Is I got you out of bed apparently.
you did.
John, welcome.
Thank you, Bert. It's a pleasure to be with you. As usual, we don't have any stimulating guests today, so I just thought I'd wander down. A discussion ensued today on Facebook where I said I just couldn't be bothered getting dressed to go onto TV. So I said I'll probably just go in my bathrobe. Well, that engendered an avalanche of comments.
I'll bet.
Dares, no, you won't do it, you'll chicken out. Went on and on and on. So here I am in my bathrobe. As you'll see, it's the real tartan bathrobe. Now, of course, it's too warm in here to continue wearing it, but don't give me any trouble because I'm also carrying my CIA badge.
So, John, I think that's a great idea. Apparently, in a lot of your Facebook kingdom,
Yeah.
would say,
Kingdom, I like that.
and consequently, there's so many viewers of our program as a result of your communication on Facebook. And I'm not communicating, but I do observe the comments and all.
Yeah, you don't communicate very much. Your son is on there declaring his Confederacy issues.
Well, he's Civil War buff. Two sons are.
Oh,
They've
yeah, he
studied
puts
and-
up some great material.
and they do it well. And the important thing is they've researched it, about relatives and so on.
And by the way, please wish your son, Mike, the younger one, a happy birthday. No, he's the middle one.
Right.
Happy birthday. What is he now, about 65?
Yeah, he's approaching that, I hope. But no, he's still 10 years away from that at least. But, John, speaking of children, it's remarkable how my sons happened to, after one was going to school for computer, being in that area, Mike, his birthday today, is hung with the business that he started as a 15-year-old.
Really?
Riding with others in the car. So he's literally in the same profession, pest control, 40 years now. He's literally been in the business.
Wow.
So when we talk about 4 decades, not me,
No.
as much as him.
Wow, that's amazing.
And it's the kind of industry that requires a lot of skill, a lot of.
But you ran a gas station down in Atlanta.
That's right. One time.
Phil and I were debating what it cost, and back then, I guess it was about 29 cents a gallon.
Exactly right.
Was it right on
Exactly
the nose?
right. 36 cents seemed to be the highest rate while we were still in the business. I was underage to get a lease with Shell, quite frankly, and my brother said, well, I'm not going to go into the business without you.
Yeah.
So we had to get an exception from Shell because we were partners. And then we opened a second station, and I guess Phil mentioned this. But the primary station we opened in Atlanta was an old location, Piedmont 10th Street. And I must say about that, being a young guy, and I never did expect to jump into a business that quickly, but it was. And that particular location, it was so near downtown Atlanta. We had, like the coach at Georgia Tech, Bobby Dodd, that's so famous, was a customer. We had people come through there, like the governor from Alabama was there visiting the governor of Georgia, and would come through there with his chauffeur. So it was an interesting thing, and over the years, it was a good basis for business education, John.
Now you go to the gas station, and it'll be $4 a gallon before long.
Well, when I was dating, and no doubt with you, I'm not sure.
Dating with me?
But I'm not sure about you and your dates, but I used to go on Sunday to pick up my date, go to the station and buy $1 worth of gas.
I know it. I remember.
We could go all over
Well,
Atlanta.
no, I don't remember. You're much older than I.
I think the difference is sometimes, particularly when you have a friend that's a co-host, it's good that one of us is the senior host.
That's right. That's you.
And when I invited you to get together as partners on this, John, I thought about that. You being my senior partner. And I haven't changed. You're the one that keeps referring to it.
Boy, that was a lot of years ago.
A lot of years, but it was an unbelievable difference. And Of course, today, what really disturbed me about this, and I noticed you mentioned the Bowie Patch had made a survey of local gas prices.
Yeah.
They all were very similar, so one or two was a little lower, but they're still under $5. And yet some areas of the country, they're
Well,
posting.
people here should thank their lucky stars. In Britain, it's almost $9 a gallon now.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? It's all tax, but
Yeah.
nevertheless, that's a lot of money.
And we're going to have an increase in these prices because.
Well, speaking of gas, Bert, speaking of gas, what did you think of the General Assembly session?
Well, did they pass the gas tax?
I don't know.
Well, they had it up. They didn't pass that. That's a good point. They had it, I think they went into committee, but I'm not sure they voted to pass the gas tax.
Well, everything went into committee.
Yeah, and 4 cents a gallon, I think, is what they were looking for. But you're right. I'll tell you my opinion of what I think. It's, to me, the most thankless assembly that I have witnessed in a long time.
The most
in Maryland.
what?
Toothless.
Oh, totally and utterly.
The actions that were developed and created and committed and so forth, I don't see that many results. The alcohol tax is one of those things that is there. I had no idea it had been so many years since there'd been an increase.
And the gay rights bill, of course, put them into the category of joining church and state.
Well, that was a great deal of people discussing the conflict there.
Oh.
And I'm not so sure. I'd like to study all they did, but taking a little more time.
Yeah.
But I just felt like that they didn't really satisfy what I think the citizens wanted, and that is some concrete plans about our economy.
Which is a mess.
And let's face it, we're talking about an unemployment figure. You just guess what the unemployment figure would be if the war is shut down quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
And all of those vets and those people that are in the National Guard need jobs.
Oh, yeah, they sure do, and they deserve jobs. Well, they're not even getting proper medical care. They're getting nothing. These poor guys come back. We lose these young men. I look at those obituaries. My God, it makes me sick. 20, 21, 22. Lost their lives for what?
Well, that's the issue, and we're in the third, almost in the third war now.
Oh,
Libya.
Yeah, Libya. Oh, gee.
When you're actually enforcing a law, whether you have boots on the ground, as they refer to it, or not, there is a lot of people in that war.
Yes.
Our soldiers.
Oh, yeah, tell me about it. We lost 50,000 in Vietnam, and we lost the war.
Yeah, sad. And I think a lot of people say, we go downtown, Washington, since it's so nearby, we can go down for lunch.
Yeah.
And be back by afternoon tea.
Yeah.
It makes you a little more conscious of what's going on.
That was very British of you. Afternoon tea?
Absolutely.
Oh.
And besides that, tea now is recommended, and no wonder you guys that have spent a lot of time in the UK are so chipper and everything.
I'll tell you something ironic. The only time I drink tea is when I am in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
I drink coffee here, no coffee over there, drink tea, because tea comes with everything.
That's right.
Breakfast and lunch and whatever. Yeah. And beer.
And beer, of course, and particularly going to Scotland.
Yeah, especially.
I understand they have special beer there. Is it called Rouse Brew?
Rouse Brew. Yes, it's very well known. It's very well known.
But I've never had any samples brought back from there when you go.
I can't bring them in.
You can't break them? You can't bring them in? Well, what do you think about the General Assembly?
I think it was awful. I'm very impressed with all of our delegation. There is no one who jumps out and says to me mentally, I did a fairly decent job. No, absolutely not. A lot of hyperbole. I'm going to give credit to one person, Jim Hubbard, Delegate Jim Hubbard.
Yeah.
He had, they're talking about, Geraldine and Doug were catering to their constituency. Jim Hubbard has the same constituency, for crying out loud.
That's right.
And he had the guts to vote for the gay rights bill. I give him credit for that.
Well, and
of course, he may retire next time. I don't know.
Well, I hope not. Jim has had some, I guess, knocks over the years, but he's been pretty consistent.
Yeah.
in the sense that he's offered some independence, John,
Yeah.
even way back when everything was so much controlled by the leadership
Oh,
and
yeah.
the delegation.
Oh, yeah.
And it seems like there's some, Doug Peters, I think, has approached his job different
Yeah.
than many in the past.
Oh, yeah.
I remember getting a call one time from someone in the county about a
Now
pipeline.
there's malfunction at its worst.
What do you think about the possibility of overcoming all that?
I am not optimistic. Rushern Baker talks a big game, as you know, if you went to that.
Sure.
You know, he talks and talks and talks, but I don't see any improvements. I just don't see them. We're in an absolute mess. And then we have this woman with the brow loaded with money sitting as a member of the county council.
Well, in all true conscience and citizen awareness, I think maybe it would have been appropriate for her to resign
Of course it would have been.
and not leave that burden up to the council members or the public.
And we did in the past have some excellent, excellent county council representatives. Doug Peters, even Audrey Scott. You know, the best, of course, ever was Frank Francois.
Frank is absolutely right.
Huh? And even Castaldi. These people were here. They did tangible stuff for the community. And this woman, Ingrid Turner, I don't know what she does except hand out, you know, little grants, which she shouldn't be doing under the financial circumstances.
Well, that's one point. I think the $100,000 per council member.
Yes.
I think that should be cut out immediately.
Immediately is right.
And it should be an internal decision on their part because they can do it.
Yes, they can.
And why, with the whole consciousness right now of our situation in Prince George's County, the embarrassment.
Oh, it's embarrassing.
This would be a good step.
I go up to Baltimore and people say, well, where do you live? I say, Prince George's County. How could you live in that county? I said, it is not easy to live in this county. And then you have the county council lobbying like mad with the delegation not to take away their perks and not to change their ethic. What is it? Yeah, the whole thing. It's just
credit cards they can use.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Which is something that I had never heard of until Prince George's County.
Well, there's someone sitting down there. She's not in the county council, but there's one, maybe. But there's one that's in public office down there who used her credit card to take her kids to Disneyland, or went to Disneyland.
Well, that's right.
That's fraud.
She's no longer on the council, that person.
Clerk of the court or something?
Yep, she's the employee of the county.
Jeez.
That was ridiculous. And, you know, the interesting thing about
even the police, Bert, now running illegal cigarettes up and down 95 and getting down. Come on.
And of all things, that one thing was repeated to me by a relative out of state and said, Dave, your police officers were running actually the product. And by the way, that particular idea of cigarettes, there was a story from the Fed Department that housed that, and that is going 70% is going to 70% of their cases. 30% used to be the problem with cigarette sales, transport and so forth. And they're selling in Virginia for like $3 a pack, I think, $4.50 in Maryland, $8 and $9 in New York. So where's when they resell them, they very well.
No, Bert, they're $7 or $8 here.
Here?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Well, that's just, now that we're the New York market.
Yeah.
Like the New York market.
I just am so disappointed in politics in general, from a state, a county, and a national perspective.